I am Darius, the Sugarless Crystals, your sugar-free destination of YouTube. Enjoy me. I'm guilt-free. Indulge. I have been busy, man. I've been so busy. Busy on what you say? A cookbook. Exactly. And not just a regular cookbook, it's a keto how-to cookbook. I break down all of my knowledge on how to bring a recipe together, how to use them, and how to properly substitute things. But the special thing about this video is this. This is the recipe that sparked the idea. Now, this recipe has been on Pinterest for quite some time now. But the reason I didn't make a video on it was because I didn't think it was very good. I have to be honest. I didn't think it was very good. And I was not gonna get in front of YouTube and tell you guys that was good when it wasn't. Because I have one of those faces like, I can't lie to you. So if I put it in my mouth and I don't like it, you're gonna see. The problem with this recipe was I could never get the texture quite right. And I couldn't understand for the life of me what I was doing wrong. But thankfully, with experience, I kinda know what I'm doing now. And a special guest will be at the end of the video. I'm not testing this alone. So we're gonna dive into the recipe real quick and I will talk a little bit later. We're gonna start off with 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter. You can use salt, but there's salt added into the recipe, so I would be mindful of that so it won't be too salty. Sugar-free maple syrup, 2 tablespoons to be exact. 2 brands that I use, Lakantos, and I use Chalk Zero. Keep in mind, both of those, the consistency are very different. Lakantos is a little thinner than Chalk Zero, and all that will play into the final product that you get out the oven. 1/4 teaspoon of stevia, 1/2 teaspoon of maple extract, and 2 eggs. Let's talk about the stevia real quick. People sit here and say they don't like stevia, they don't like the bitter taste. Trust me, I get it, I understand. There's a reason I sweeten my recipes the way I do. I put a little erythritol at the bottom for your base level sweetness. Well, monk fruit, excuse me. I use monk fruit, but you can't use erythritol, it'll work. But I use that for the base level sweetness. And then I use the stevia to top it off to bring the sweetness up higher and stronger. This way you don't get the coolness from the erythritol and you don't get the bitterness from the stevia. Trust me. And if you want to actually cut it back, I would cut back on the stevia, me only using a little portion of it, versus cut it back on the granulated sweetener, because the granulated sweetener, it affects the consistency, the texture after you bake it, because it has like bulking agencies. Characteristics agencies, I don't know where I got that from. So we're gonna move over to our our dry ingredients. 1 1/4 cup of almond flour, blanched almond flour without the shell casings, and a good quality brand like Anthony's, Kirkland's that I choose to use, which I get from Costco's. And brands do matter. Bob's is great too, but Bob's is so expensive. 2 tablespoons of granulated sweetener. I go with monk fruit myself, but erythritol will work just fine. You can even use stevia. You can use pure. You can use what's some other brands? Help me out. Help a brother out. Did I say erythritol? Monk fruit, pure, dang, allulose. Talk about being stuck. You can use those, but never replace a granulated sweetener with a liquid one, because it's gonna change your what I need to come up with a name for this. It's gonna change your final product. If you're gonna swap a granulated sweetener out, swap it out, monk fruit out for erythritol. Don't swap monk fruit out for liquid stevia. Like, it's not gonna work. That's not gonna be wise. 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of coconut flour. Now, coconut flour is vary as well. There are some brands that aren't grinded or milled as properly, which tend to take a little bit while to be absorbed. But I use Anthony's and I use Bob's. Those are the only 2 I use because those work fine. I bought another one time and it was just horrible. Combine your dry and your wet ingredients together and then place in cups. Now, quick tip. I want you guys to notice something about this. Look at this. Do you see how ugly that is? That's ugly. But do you notice in the pictures, they're puffed up, they're beautiful looking. You wanna know why? It was all the same ingredients, but do you know what made the difference? The eggs were at room temperature. When you put cold eggs or cold ingredients together, when other things are warm, things tend to clump up. the ones that I made for this video, they did not rise as well, and the texture was nowhere near as fluffy. It was still very soft and moist, which is great, but just be mindful of that. Like I said, everything at room temperature. So now would be the perfect time to test these things. I'm not gonna test them alone. We're gonna head over to my stepfather's house, and we're gonna taste them with him. Now, he loves pecan and maple things, so I'm hoping, you know, he likes it. But you know, I'm pretty good at what I do. That's why, you know, Alright, so this is my stepfather, Charlie. Now, be mindful, he just said he had sugar like 15-20 minutes ago, so these may not be sweet at all to him. These are gonna be my pecan pie. Well, that's pecan pie muffins. I know you like pecans, yes. So that's why I chose this specific recipe for you to try. All right. So we're gonna hope for the best. Like, it has like a little maple flavor in it. So, all right, we're gonna try it out. Now, what do you think about the consistency?
The consistency is good. It's still moist in there. It's not dry. Yeah. I can taste the maple. You can. I definitely see the pecans.
Hey, look, I ran out of pecans too. It was supposed to be way more in here, but I ran out.
But you know, I love all the pecans I can get.
Yeah, but look, okay, so the consistency is good. You like that? It's not dry. Right. Which I don't make dry desserts. I specialize, like, this is what I do. I do good. All right. All right, so, but you can get the maple. What about sweetness wise? It's hard for you to get a little sweetness?
The maple kind of brings the sweetness, not as much as I would like, but since I'm trying to change my eating habits, I think this would be something definitely good for me to eat. Instead of sweets, I would much rather prefer to eat
this. You feel like you can eat this?
I can eat this rather than eat a sweet because I still get that little sweetness that I need. Yeah. And it's good for me.
Actually, it has a little maple syrup in there. But it's sugar-free maple syrup, but because it came out the store, like, they know how to sweeten it a little bit. Right. So that helps a whole lot.
Like I said, it's just got just that little sweetness to it and make you say, yeah, this is sweet.
Okay, all right. That's good. All right, well, there's the verdict. I am back home now. I hope you guys enjoyed him. I've been trying to get him to eat keto foods for a while. He's the one that I spoke about one of my last videos, the history of keto, when I was speaking on a family member that had epilepsy. I try to push keto on him hard, but you know, hey, it is what it is. I really wanted to test this recipe because there were actually a couple recipes that I just felt like I wasn't quite satisfied with. So when I got to the point where I felt like I really wanted to test to see how good I was, I went back and I redid them. Some of them, the first try, I mean, they came out magnificent. It came out the way I wanted them to, and I felt like I have the experience now. And that's what led me to a cookbook. That's what led me to sharing my knowledge of over 100-something videos of reviewing other people's products, mixing other people's recipes, and making my own. So that'll be it for today. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I am Darius, this is Sugarless Crystals, your sugar-free destination of YouTube. And I'm not a chef. I don't know who told you that. I'm an entertainer. Bye.